Today I'm teaching you how to do the backhand third shot drop. It's time to stop getting targeted. I know that this can be a weak point for a lot of players, but today I'm going to give you some tips on how to improve. Today I'm going to teach you two strokes that you can use. One is going to be more slicey and the other one's going to be more of a standard ground stroke. This is going to be great, guys. Let's break this down point by point. I'm going to show you some slow motion footage later on as well. What we're going to do is get started with a standard backhand ground stroke. This is going to help out a lot if you want to develop a backhand drive or if you want to do a drop. You can do both of them. That's what's so cool about this. But first, as usual, feet first, swing later. You know the drill, okay? So, got to get our feet in position first. Here's the weird thing about a backhand. My paddle is attached to my hand, which is attached to my arm, which is attached to my shoulder, way over here. But the ball is over here. That doesn't work, does it? Because in order to hit the ball, I have to reach all the way across and my chest is in the way. So the way that we fix this problem is that we have to get the chest out of the way. How do we do that? We do that by switching our footwork to the side like this. Whether it's something like this, we kind of lunge, or it's actually taking 2 steps, that's all good. Whatever you want to do, I do recommend trying out both and just kind of figuring out what you like. This is very important. The reason is because now my backhand is free to do whatever it wants. See, my chest is not in the way anymore. Whereas if I'm like this, I'm like reaching over and this is not good. That does exclude shots off the kitchen line, as I'm sure you understand. So how do we do this? How do we do this basic backhand ground stroke? The first thing, of course, is the footwork, but when you come through the shot, it's all in the shoulder. Now, what I want you to do, I want you to imagine that you're bowling. Okay, so you're out at a bowling alley, you roll the ball down, knock over a couple of pins, and then you're trying to get the spare, but you dunk it right into the gutter, okay? What happens? That little shovel thing comes down like this, it scoots the pins back into the back of the alley, comes back like this, and then goes up, right? You've seen that, you've seen the way that works. Thing comes down, shoves all the pins back, and then back like this. That is the motion that I want you to have in your mind. Shove the pins back like that. So turn, and then just pretend like you've got a bunch of bottles or pens or whatever sitting here, and you're going to shove them off a table. Shove them off towards your opponent like that. That's the motion. Notice how there's no elbow, there's no wrist. It's all in the shoulder. This is the key to understanding this principle. So again, turn, shove, okay? And in terms of the paddle face, where the face is at impact really matters when it comes to the trajectory of a backhand. So I want you to pretend like there's something on the front of your paddle here, and you're not allowed to see it, but your opponent is. So shove the paddle towards your opponent and show them what's on the face like this. So you can't see it, so don't do that. That's later, that's for a slice, but shove it like this. Okay, let me show you some examples here. Shove. You see how I'm showing my opponent the face, okay? Turn, shove. Don't worry about, you can probably hear the volley on his side. Don't worry about whether this is a good shot or not. You're just practicing the motion. Turn, shove. Awesome. Just push that paddle straight forward. Use your shoulder. Okay, I'm gonna go cross court here. You can go wherever you want. Generally, it's best to go cross court on a third shot. Backhand drop. Turn, push the paddle. Notice how low these are going. That's kind of the point here. Cool. Oh, this is such a great thing to learn, guys. Just push the paddle forward. Here's the cool thing though, this turns into a regular one-handed backhand ground stroke. So if you want to develop that one-handed drive, you totally can. It's the exact same thing. Just push the paddle forward and then come up on it. Now the slice version of this is super fun, but it's a little bit more challenging because it's easier to pop it up. Same fundamental mechanics, same stuff. Turn, push with your shoulder. By the way, let me show it to you from this angle. See the shoulder? Okay. Also, when it comes to the wrist here, I do recommend hinging your wrist like this instead of hitting it like that. The reason is because it's a little bit easier to break your wrist coming this way. And so it's a little bit easier to pop up the ball. If this is you, all good, that's great. But I do recommend hinging the wrist, just makes it just a little bit easier. So, same fundamental stroke. This time though, when we finish, we have to pretend like we're balancing a glass of water on the top of our paddle. So swing through and then balance that glass of water. What you're gonna notice, you're gonna notice me coming out to the side like this. That is totally fine. That is just a style of play thing. You see people do that all the time, but you want to pretend like you're balancing a water. Does it have to be perfect? No, don't worry about it. This is just a feeling, okay? So watch. So turn like that. See how I'm balancing the water? What we were doing before was this. That's that flat stroke. We're doing a more slicey thing now. Oh yes, I can't wait to show this to you. Oh yeah, awesome. Same fundamental mechanics. And if you want to switch, it's very easy to switch. All you gotta do is just show your opponent the face rather than balance the water. Ryan just said something really useful here. Most people use a slice on their backhand thirds, but I do want you to try that kind of more pushy version of it. But let's do the slice here. So turn and then through. That has an insane amount of spin on the ball, but it's significantly more difficult than the pushy shot, but it's the same principle. You just have to kind of trust it. Like that. Now, even though that was a little bit low, that was more of a cut, so I kind of sliced under it, and so it didn't have that trajectory and it didn't have that velocity to it. You're gonna get random stuff like this sometimes with these types of shots here. But again, like the most important part is how I close down. So I wanna show it to you from the open stance here. So I can kind of get away with this shot, but it's so inflexible, I just can't move. That's why the footwork is so important when it comes to these backhand third shot drops like this. So try those out, but start with that pushy motion first. Okay, so I want to show it to you from this angle now. I'm going to do the pushy version of this. So I want you to just watch the technique. Okay, turn, push. Make sure you're continental on this grip, by the way. Thumb, index finger pointed towards your chin. Now this all assumes that you're just going to get really easy shots right out here in front of you and it's going to just be easy peasy. It's not always going to be that way. Sometimes you're going to have to reach forward and really come underneath the ball. The trick to doing this is to not try to just cut underneath it. This is actually something that I can do sometimes, and it's something that always kind of catches my attention. Instead, scoop underneath the ball and push up slightly. You kind of have to just nudge it a little bit, okay? All right, let me give you this angle now. Watch this. I'm gonna do the pushy version first, like that. Notice how I'm really accelerating through it. Still hitting with my shoulder, but I'm really accelerating. That's okay. Now the more slicey version. Okay, I want you to notice what just happened there. Do you notice how I had to step back like that? That is totally fine. But I want you to notice how it happened though. I'm stepping back and pointing the left foot back. So if you get a deep shot, this is what happens, right? You get these deep shots to your backhand, you gotta just step back and do the same footwork. There's pretty much no difference. Now, when you do step back, it's likely that your weight is gonna be on this back foot, so you do have to kind of accelerate through the ball a little bit more. Like that. Woohoo, baby. Okay, wait, hold on a minute. You guys saw that first shot, okay? That is exactly what you want. What are they gonna do? Seriously, ask yourself that. Because of this cross-court angle going diagonally like that, it's going to bounce to the side and back. What are they gonna do? This is what makes this shot so brutal when you learn the pushy version, because you can just pinpoint a shot right there, paint the corner of that kitchen, and they are nearly forced to dink it unless they've got some kind of crazy two-handed down the line, you know, whatever, right? But for the vast majority of you, this is gonna be crazy, crazy good. All you gotta do is practice this motion and practice the footwork.